Hello everybody, I hope you are great. Welcome to my channel Teach Speaking English by Linda. In this lesson, I want to talk about adjective clause. But before speak about this subject, I want to tell you what is clause. In English, we have clause and phrase. Look at this example. A man in red shirt. A man in red shirt. This is not sentence. Why? Because in here we have just noun and adjective. We don't have any verb. So this is not sentence. I told you before, sentence is subject plus verb. If we have subject and then verb, so we have make a sentence. But here we don't have any verb, so this is not sentence. What is this? This is a phrase. We say this is a phrase because we have just some noun and adjective. Or like this, the blue car. Blue car. Adjective and noun and also article. So again we don't have any verb. So this is not sentence. This is also a phrase. A nice day. This example is the same the other one. We don't have any verb. So we said that this is a phrase. Why? Because we don't have any verb. So phrase is a group of some noun and adjective together. Now what is clause? In clause we have subject and verb. In clause we have two kinds of clause, independent and dependent. What is the difference? Independent, it's a sentence like this. I have a friend. Complete sentence, grammatically and meaning are correct. We don't have any problem. But here, dependent. For example, I say is tall or he is tall. This is not complete sentence. We don't understand. We speak about who. Who is tall? I say, for example, he is tall. You ask me, who is tall? You speak about who. Okay? So, we need some sentence or we need a sentence that complete this sentence. We need other clause to complete this clause. Together we use, for example, this clause and this clause together we make a complete sentence. So how? For make a sentence with two clause, we need some word. The name is relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. What is relative pronoun? Such as who, which, where, when, that, and whose. One by one, I tell you we use for what. For example, who. We use who for people or a person. We use who. Which we use for things. Which we use for things. Where we use for place. We use for place. When we use for time. When we use for time. That we use for people and things. Both of them we can use. And whose we use for belonging. For example, something belong to someone or something belong to something else. Okay, now let's start to look at an example. Look at this example. I have a friend is tall. We have two clause. Okay, I have a friend is tall. Two clause. We want to stick these two clause together. So we want to use relative pronoun. We have to use one of these relative pronoun. Which one is good? We look at the name here. What is this? A friend, a person. So for person we can use who or that, one of them. For example, I said that I have a friend who is tall. I have a friend who is tall. Or I have a friend that is tall. I speak about one of my friends that is tall. Okay? Now here, I have a chair is comfortable. I have a chair is comfortable. What is this? Chair is a thing. For thing we use what? Which or that. So I use which or that. I have a chair which is comfortable. Or I have a chair that is comfortable. After who, that, which, or yes, that, who, that, which, we can use to be verb or subject or main verb. Okay? Now, for subject, I have a friend who I talk to. I have a friend who I talk to. Because of friend, we use who. After that, subject. And here, I have a chair which I sit on. I have a chair which I sit on. So, after who and which, we can use subject or to be verb. And also main verb. I have a friend who comes late to class. I have a friend who comes late to class. Now look at here. If we have to be verb after relative pronoun, this is subjective relative. We said that this is subjective. Who is subject is to be verb. Here, which is subject is to be verb. But if we have subject after pronoun, relative pronoun, if we have subject, this is objective relative pronoun. Okay? So, if we have to be verb, this is subjective. If we have subject or noun, this is objective. Okay. Now, for place, I told you, for place we use where. For example, I live in a city, you can see a lot of tourists. We have two clauses. Okay? We wanna make sentence together. So, because of city, this is a place, we use where. I live in a city where you can see a lot of tourists. Be careful. After where, we just use subject. After where, we can't use to be verb. If we have two clauses like this, I live in a city is beautiful. Here we have is to be verb, so we can't use where. We use which instead of where. I said that I live in a city which is beautiful. Okay, so after where we need subject. If we have to be verb, instead of where we have to use which. So I live in a city where you can see a lot of tourists, or I live in a city which is beautiful. I live in a city which is very big. Now about time. For time we use when. I remember the day. I remember the day. The day speak about time. So we need when. I remember the day when I met you. After when, the same where, we have to use subject or noun. I remember the day when I met you. But we can use which instead of when. When we can use which? When after when we have to be verb. For example, in this example, I remember the day which was great. I remember the day which was awful. I remember the day which was awesome. Okay, so after when here, after when, just we use subject or noun. But if we want to use to be verb, we choose which instead of when. That I told you for person and things we use it. And the last one, whose. Whose for belonging. For example, look at this sentence. I know a man, car is blue. I know a man, car is blue. The car is for this man and I know him. So I said that I know a man whose car is blue. Car belongs to this man. I know a man whose car is blue. And for things. Here man is a person and here chair is a things. We can use whose for people and for things. Both of them we can use. I have a chair. I have a chair whose legs are broken. I have a chair whose legs are broken. Legs belong to chair, so we use whose. For example, the other, I said that about my marker. I have a marker whose the door is red. I have a marker whose the door is red. Okay, again, let's review. At first, adjective clause. Adjective is a word that introduces a noun. For simple adjective, we have a noun before. For example, I said that a blue car. Okay, this is noun, this is adjective. For simple adjective, adjective comes before noun. First we have adjective, after that noun. And what does it do? It means adjective introduce the car. Blue car. Okay? Or for example, beautiful flower. Big home. Adjective come before noun. But for adjective clause, this who is the adjective clause. Who is tall is the adjective clause. Adjective come after noun. Okay, so simple adjective comes before noun, but adjective clause come after noun. And here the same adjective clause introduce the name or the sentence. For example, I have a friend who is tall. Who is tall is adjective clause. So this clause introduce this sentence or this noun. As I told you, we have some relative pronoun such as who for people, which for things, where for place, when for time, that for people and things, and whose for belonging something to someone or something to something else. Again, look at the example. I have a friend who is tall. Because of friend, we use who or that. I have a friend that is tall. I have a chair which is comfortable. Because of chair, we choose which or that. I have a chair which is comfortable, or I have a chair that is comfortable. I have a friend who I talk to. I have a friend who I talk to. Why we choose who? Because of friend. After who, we can use subject to, not only to be verb. We can use subject. I have a chair which I sit on. I have a chair which I sit on. Why we use which? Because we have thing, chair. And after which we can also choose subject or use subject. I have a friend who comes late to class. I have a friend who comes late to class. Why we use who? Because we have friend. And after who, we can also use main verb. So, after who, we can use to be verb, subject, and main verb. Now, about place. I live in a city where you can see a lot of tourists. I live in a city where you can see a lot of tourists. Why we use where? Because of city. City is a place. So we use where. And we have to care about this. After where, we just use subject or noun. We can't use to be verb. If we have to be verb, we have to use which instead of where. I live in a city which is beautiful. I live in a city which is beautiful. Why we use which? Because this is city. But you say for place we use where. Why here we use which? Because after that we have to be verb. So we can't use where. After where we have to use subject. For time. I remember the day. I remember the day. Because of this, we need when, because we speak about time. So, after when, the same where, we need subject or noun. I remember the day when I met you. I remember the day when I met you. Because of time, we need when. This sentence, I remember the day which was great. I remember the day which was great. Here we have the day. Speak about time. Why we use which? Because after that we have to be verb was. So we can't use when. We use which instead of when. I remember the day which was great, which was awful. So after where and after when we just use subject. For whose? I know a man whose car is blue. I know a man whose car is blue. As you see, after whose we have noun. And here we have person. For person and things we can use whose for belonging. And here I have a chair whose legs are broken. I have a chair whose legs are broken. After whose again we have noun. And here chair is a thing. Here man is a person. I hope you understand completely. If you want to learn, join and enjoy. Goodbye.